Welcome, friends. Thank you for being here. My name is Liam Murphy, trying to become a four-time NFL best ball champion today. Going to be streaming a draft on Underdog Fantasy. Seems like some new options hit the lobby. I'm going to be doing a marathon today, though, which is Underdog's total points contest. Just the total points you score weeks 1 through 17. Of course, Drafters also has total points. I'll be streaming on their site probably sometime next week as well for those looking for a Drafter stream. Good evening. What is going on? I'm in the draft. We need two more if you want to take a shot against me, but I did pretty well on my advance rates last year in stream draft, so no free streamer EV over here. Again, if you are new to the channel while we wait for this to fill, do me a favor, click a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on that bell, and join my Discord in the YouTube description below. I'm on the road to 5K, getting close. Less than 500 people until we've passed that barrier. What exactly does it mean when you have a red badge? Good question, Proper 19. There is a black badge. There is a red badge on sites like DraftKings. They have like military notches, I want to say, for anyone who played like, Halo 2, Halo 3 back in the day, or Call of Duty, where you got, more pizzazz on your military medal as you got. It's basically what a badge is. I believe a black badge means you have done 500 drafts. A red badge means you have done 1,000. Don't quote me on that. You can look that up. We are in a marathon draft, by the way. Don't quote me on that, but basically sites are legally. Oh, we got our guy. Hit him with the gritty. Who's he gonna go with the 101? Man, I'm gonna have Michael on for a stream one day. He's become, Michael used to just kind of be a guy in our Discord, but Twitter's really taken to hit him with the gritty. And so yeah, you can kind of see actually when I hover over. Actually, this doesn't show on your end, but when you hover over a red badge, it says highly experienced. And again, it just has to do with how many drafts you've done. I think sites are legally required to denote that. So that's why they do that. Does it mean someone's good at drafting? Certainly not, right? You can draft a lot and not be good. All right, guys, let me show you how to be sweaty right now. What we do is we got hit him with the gritty in there. We know this man does not move. He does not budge from his exposures. He's kind of taken my, when I used to say, like, I had like 60% Gabe Davis the year I won BBM. He's taken that to the extreme. So let's find this man's exposures so we can kind of dance around the players I want. I'm sure he's posted them. Here we go. Here's some wide receivers. This is how you sweat against the grid lord. Oh, he went CeeDee Lamb. Okay. Well, so I always go Chase on playoff weeks. Chase versus Denver versus Tyreek versus Miami. But on for the marathon, where it's just total points weeks 1 through 17, I think it's fine to mix. So I'm just going to shuffle these two. And we ended up with Chase. And honestly, I love Jamar Chase. Man's responsible for me winning Best Ball Mania 2. So, he had 50 points in the game last year as well. So super high ceiling. Joe Burrow should be healthy. But okay. All right. So in the mid rounds, I guess wide receiver is not the one we care about from him. We care more about his running back exposure. Because, look, go with God. You can have these guys. But let's see. Okay, in the running backs. So if I want Ramondre, I got to take him. If I want Najee, I'm going to take him. I'm not really into a lot of his guys, so that is fine. Tight end, if I want the elites, I got to get them. And wide receiver here. And, like, this is why you shouldn't probably post your exposures online if you are going extreme. Now, to be honest with you, I don't think it's going to be a big problem. I'm going to build a team I think is good, and we'll see. We'll see what hit him with the gritty. Basically, what he's all about. He's about always getting Chase Claypool, which, I mean, hey, that could work, but I think it's a bad bet at this moment in time. He is always getting like multiple elite quarterbacks, which is just kind of bad mathematically because only one can hit your lineup. And he typically punts off wide receiver, which is, again, not good. Got to change his title to something like Drafting with Gritty. I hope, I'm an incredibly small influencer. I hope one day the Gritty is like way more well-known than me. They're like, who? That guy that won some contest? Who's he? I'm with the Gritty. My friend has a black badge and has never done a draft. Anybody know how? Maybe he's lying to you. Do you have a drafter's referral code I can use? I do. Promo code ChessLiam. I'll drop that in the chat for you. Was planning on socializing that, but yeah, exciting stuff coming down the pipeline. Once I'm getting my drafters drafts, going to be giving out free tickets. But almost everyone is up and running on ice for drafters. So if you need a draft on drafters, use promo code ChessLiam, or you can just click this link here. The big benefit of drafters is it typically overlays, meaning it does not fill. You're so lucky to be in a hit 'em in the gritty lobby, EV to the max. A little rude, but I don't disagree where if someone's an extreme drafter, it's probably a little bit plus EV. Here we go. Here's the grid lord himself. I'm not worried about what anyone says about my exposures or my build/strategy. I embrace the hate. No, I mean, look, I'm someone in the Discord who I'm not for piling on people. And I've previously, I don't ever draft Saquon. Let's just do it once. Let's do it here. The hope with Saquon is basically you're getting like CMC level production. Just like, if you're going to ignore that he wasn't that efficient, or that Jalen Hurts could steal a bunch of touchdowns, you're just kind of hoping for that. But yeah, I don't hate on Michael in the Discord. Last year, there used to be some mean people who I'd be like, guys, come on now. And yeah, like Pete put out a video of don't tap the glass, meaning, which is in reference to a fish. A fish is like typically a bad gambler. Derrick Henry's also a guy I don't draft a lot. And I do want to start mixing him in a little bit because, I mean, look, why do you draft Derrick Henry? Because you hope he scores 15 touchdowns. Hey, thank you so much, Best Ball Brian. Gifted 1 membership, and it was given to James. And he says, thank you, Brian. Look at that. Community's coming together. Man. Like, I love these 2 running backs, but you just really cannot get buried at wideout and win. So let's do Zay Flowers. I like DJ Moore. I like these guys. I'm reaching on Zay Flowers just for uniqueness, in the sense that unique combos in a contest like Best Ball Mania 5 are nice, right? It's a big contest, but the finals field is literally only 500 people. In this, a unique combo, the amount of Chase, Saquon, Zay Flowers starts is almost 0. Where a unique combo is just way more beneficial, where you're trying to draft literally the team that scores the most points. Now, I also think it could be argued that Saquon's ADP aligns a little bit more with the back end, where Flowers goes a little bit more. And that should have actually pushed me towards taking a 2-3 turn guy, just because it's kind of hard to get. Once you take a faller and a guy like Saquon, which to be honest with you, like he does fall here quite a bit in sharper rooms. You don't want to, per my article on beatbestball.com, my CD Lamb article about unique combos. You can read this for free, by the way. Don't even need a membership. But, in this thing, I talk about how often people reached, and I put in a part where you don't want to fight your own uniqueness, where like if you reach for a guy, you don't want to reach again, which I just did, because Saquon and Flowers is a more common pairing. On the topic of my best ball site, again, check that out. First of all, I want to say the site is $99 for a year, and I listed at $40 for a month with the idea that no one should buy the monthly option. So unless you're looking to just support me and buy the monthly option, I think it's far more economical for you to buy the yearly option, because that will get you my content all of the summer, all of playoff best ball, all of the preseason best ball. So I priced the monthly high with the idea that people wouldn't do that, but some people have been doing that. And I've emailed some and been like, hey, do you want me to refund you? They haven't answered, so whatever. Also, I got an article coming down the pipeline. I'm hoping it will be done by tomorrow. If not, I'm going to crank it out Saturday. I'm just kind of building it right now, but it is on it's about total point contests and what's worked in the past couple of years, which is a little bit descriptive. This is why I'm not super big on historical data, but there are predictive things you can take from it. Appreciate you, Proper19, for the super chat. Thank you for the response to my question. Of course, man. I'm tired of drafting from the 9 and 12 spots. Last 6 was in that range. Yeah, man, I would just recommend don't get bored with it, because things can change, right? Like you can have 10 in a row at the 3 spot. So don't start doing like bad EV things because you keep drafting at the same spot. I would agree with this. Gritty has BBM5 locked up if Claypool scores 10 touchdowns. Well, that's not how it works, right? Because it's not a total points contest, BBM5. What do you think about Javonte Williams? I wrote up all of the running backs in my, not all of them, but all the running backs in rounds 8 and after, pretty much, in my running back article, the league winners and which ones to be careful of. And in there on Javonte, I'm not too into him. I understand Sean Payton targets the running back. Oh, we got Mr. Funny Guy here sniping Lamar. It's okay. I don't think I was going to take Lamar because I literally did a Flowers draft last time. But what do we want to do? Let's do ETN. ETN and Saquon as my anchors. You were amazing on the Swolecast. Appreciate you, man. I love the Swolecast. I love those guys. Pete was pretty brutal on Davis getting fired. He had a lot of jokes there, but I thought Davis did really well with rolling with the punches, and that's what Davis does. That's why we love Davis. You playing any WSOP this summer? I'm literally flying out tomorrow to play a tournament. I'm going to play the Monster Stack and then probably come back. All right, let's go Scary Terry here. Again, can't get buried at wideout here, especially with me going Saquon and ETN. But yeah, for the WSOP, the World Series of Poker, I'm going to fly out this weekend. I'll be back early next week unless I run deep in a tournament, in which case I would stay a little bit longer, but I'm gonna be working from there. I don't think I'm gonna play tournaments. Like I'll be closer to max late regging. That way I can write articles in the daytime. And that's like if I don't have that article on the site by tomorrow, I'm not playing until I finish it Saturday. Max late regging is always the best strategy. Yeah, I think it's always the best strategy if your goal is to profit. I think it can be debated if it's the highest ROI strategy in the sense that you're less likely to catch a mega punter, and maybe you need to do that to run super deep consistently. But the higher the buy-in, there's not that many mega punters, anyways. What's the word on Ray Davis? Not a lot of Here's what I want to say about running back buzz in general this time of year. There are no pads, right? So if you hear buzz for a guy like Jaleel McLaughlin, who is an explosive fast guy, it'd be concerning if there isn't buzz for him. There's no pads, there's no tackling. So Ray, I've not heard a lot about. I will say though, Keon Coleman, I was a little like iffy on, and was kind of feeling the downside potential with him. He looks smooth out there in some of those training clips. He really does look smooth running his route. So it got me excited for Keon Coleman being a Bills fan. How high are you going? How high are you on Bijan going into the season? Honestly, really high. Like I've not drafted him enough, but I almost took him at the 103 for a little bit of uniqueness sake because I really can see that Bijan 101 season. I prefer him over Brees pretty strongly. The thing is like I love Puka Nakua too. Like I have Puka ranked ahead of the running backs. I think Garrett Wilson could be the wideout one if things go his way. AJ Brown has a super high ceiling. So I like Bijan a lot, but it cannot be debated that wide receiver dries up and running back, you look at a guy like Rachaad White. And let's just pretend that Zeke is the starter for the Cowboys or Dowdle is. Just pretend either one of them is like the guy. There's not all that difference then between Rachaad White in the 5th and Zeke and or Dowdle in the 11th round, right? And there's many such cases you can make that. How high are you? Haven't smoked today, brother. Am I coming off that way? How many have you drafted any Josh Allen, Jada Daniels teams? Yeah, I've drafted a couple of those, maybe one or two. I love it. It's not too different from my team I won BBM2 with, which was Josh Allen and Justin Fields, except we're actually we're expecting Jada Daniels to actually play football this year. Yeah, let's get to some of the news. One, I had Juwan Johnson already way down my ranks. I need to match up my rankings for this one. But what am I looking for here? Yeah, stop drafting Juwan Johnson is what I wanted to say, because he, like, the latest thing. First of all, I already thought I didn't understand why people were kind of bullish on him. I preferred a guy like Tyler Conklin over him already, who has his own troubles, but he's scheduled to undergo foot surgery next week and will be sidelined a while. I think I saw the Saints reporter guy, I'm forgetting his name, but I think he said the hope was that he'll be ready for the season. Not for training camp, for the season. So Juwan Johnson, a fine 17th, 18th round guy, but I would not be drafting him ahead of guys like Otten, Likely, Fant, Smith. And once you get past that, though, it's like, what's the difference? You just hope he is ready for the start of the season. The Kamara news. Kamara's holding out for more money, which I mean, good luck, dude. But yeah, I'm not too worried about that. Skips a mini camp practice. God, who's gonna pay Kamara more money at this stage? My winning BBM2 construction, it was a 2592. Liam is high on knowing that this draft is going to win him 1.5 mil. That'd be amazing. This draft can literally only win 300K though, because it is a marathon. All right, let's go Coleman. I was going to shuffle between Ladd, Christian, and Coleman, who I all view very similar, but we're not shuffling. We didn't shuffle there. We just grabbed him. How much Kincaid do you have? Quite a bit. The downside of Kincaid is, I don't know, tight end 6, tight end 7 in healthy seasons, but I think he has upside as tight end 1. I especially like him on sites that are tight end premium or PPR, where, it's kind of hard for him not to be the 1B. Like, let's pretend Coleman becomes the 1A, which doesn't even seem that likely. Kincaid should be right there. Or let's pretend that he's the 1A. Maybe, I guess the worst thing for Kincaid is if Samuel, Kincaid, and Coleman are all, and Shakir, who got banged up but not something to worry about, are all like all 15% or something like that. Are you cooking Dawson Knox in round 18 at all? No, I'm not really betting on I'm typically getting guys who I think have more upside than that. Like, okay, what are you hoping for with Dawson Knox? You're hoping that basically he falls in the end zone twice week 17 for playoff week contests. For total points contest, I think a guy like Dawson Knox is even worse. Okay, if Kincaid got hurt, then yeah, there's your upside. But that would have to happen. We have a big enough sample on Knox. It's not going to happen as far as like a target dominant guy. Kamara to the Cowboys? I don't see that happening. I don't really see, I could see that happening at the trade deadline, but before then, the Saints, their division's pretty easy. So they got to, and they do this thing where they kick the cap down the road. So they got to stay in it. But our team so far, we got Saquon and Etienne. We got Chase, Flowers, Terry, and then we got 2 rookies, Rome and Keon Coleman. I like how it's coming together. We got some bye week overlap, but we'll work that out. Bills are going to miss the playoffs. They aren't very good this year. I mean, every year, the people like to say this. People find a reason to fade Josh Allen every year. I mean, Vegas has them 10.5 wins or so. I think they got better than last year, where they were, a half from going to the Super Bowl. So I disagree. This doesn't make much logical sense when you look at what has happened. Yeah, I mean, literally only if Josh Allen gets hurt do I see them missing. Exactly. Does Best Ball Mania points restart after week 14? Good question, Kevin. The way playoff week contests work, and this is why you really should read the structure of what you're drafting before you jump in there, is, so I would have taken Burrow if he made it back, but I'm not taking even though I like Burrow a lot, I'm just kind of hoping he always falls to the 9th or the 8th round, because he does sometimes. But the way playoff contests work is you need to advance out of which, to be clear, this is not a playoff contest one I'm drafting right now. But you need to advance out of your pod, and then the score resets, and you get randomly placed in pods, and then you need to beat your quarterfinals pod, and then your semifinals pod, and then you get in a pod week 17. That would be the finals, and whoever scores the most points then wins. I think the Gritty is caving to public pressure because he's got two wide receivers. He got CeeDee Lamb, he's got George Pickens. Reached on Najee and Ramondre. That is not good to me. But he does him. Yeah, I think Swift is a fun guy to take here. The nice thing about Swift, he correlates with my wide receiver, running back wide receiver correlation. Typically something you are very okay doing, and even would tiebreak over. Because you're kind of hoping I'm already saying the Bears are a good team. They're scoring touchdowns. And with the rookie, if they don't let Caleb throw a bunch from the goal line, Swift could steal, he could get a lot of touchdowns for them compared to last year. Some good questions here, guys. I'll get to them. Thank you for asking. Questions always make a stream go nice. Okay. I think it could go a lot of different ways here. But we're going to go Jaden Daniels with us having Terry McLaurin. He's, as far as like a guy who could finish as a top 5 QB, you just hope Daniels does it on the ground. Eric asks, are you buying into the Anthony Richardson QB1 finisher hype? Obviously, with his athleticism, it's in his range of outcomes. Given the small sample size, his injury risk, are you in on him at cost? No, I totally could see, like Mahomes or Richardson. Who do I think is more likely to be overall QB1? I would say Richardson. Same reason why I had no Mahomes last year, because you had to draft him ahead of guys like Hurts and Allen. And I thought that was bad. Which, Mahomes again wouldn't have had to Hurts here. Because, look, here's how Mahomes becomes QB1. He throws 50 touchdowns and 5,000 yards. He can do that. That's just really, really bold, especially in the cover 2 era. Here's how Anthony Richardson is QB1. He rushes for 15 touchdowns. That's not as hard for him because, we saw it from him. We saw the coach willing to let him do that. Now, is it possible they're like, look, bro, we're not letting you do that as much anymore by the goal line? Like, you got to protect yourself? Maybe. But in general, rushing QBs are just way more likely to be QB1. And that's why, like, the pocket passing guys, Dak, Burrow, Love, Purdy, Caleb Williams, Trevor, Goff, Tua, Herbert, Cousins, Stafford, Rodgers. Literally any of them could throw for 30 to 45 touchdowns in their like really, really good years and be a top 5 QB. We've seen that before. Dak did it last year. Burrow's done it before. Stafford and Brady did it one year, and then they got overdrafted, and then they didn't do it anymore because it's hard to do. And those types of QBs typically come back down to earth. So that's why I don't recommend you take like huge stands on the good team pocket passers. Like, even though I like Burrow, I don't want to have like 80% Burrow and no Dak, or all Burrow and no Purdy, or all Burrow and no Love, because I think they're all good teams, and all of those QBs could do it in their good years. There's some other questions that were asked here. What's your thoughts on focusing on Arizona versus LA? Chris asks. Minnesota versus Green Bay, and Washington versus Atlanta. And he's talking about for the playoff contest because these teams play each other week 17. I seem to draft more of these players than others due to week 17. You can stack them early and late rounds. In general, I am for targeting games that you think are good to target, right? The year I won BBM2, I took a lot of Rashad Penny and a lot of Chris Carson. Is that his name? The old Seattle running back? I think it is, yeah. But I took both of them because they played the Lions, and I thought the Lions had a terrible run defense. And yeah, I agree. I agree on like two of those. Like Washington versus Atlanta, that's a game I want pieces from because it can kind of be that like a little bit ugly but high scoring one with high pace. Arizona versus the Rams is definitely a game I want exposure to. It's just a game I could see being a shootout. You know, Kyler throws a touchdown to Marvin Harrison Jr., kicks things off. Stafford fires back. You know, you hope you just get something like that going. Scout, appreciate the super chat here. Says, how much stacking is too much, especially for Green Bay? I find that you can realistically get all 4 wide receivers and both tight ends stacked with Love. What's ideal? In general, I would say you don't, it's all cost dependent, right? So super stacking a team like Miami is just a tougher exercise than super stacking a team like Green Bay due to the cost of the players. Give me a moment here. Got to make a pick. Gus is like not practicing, but it's probably not a big deal. What pick are we at? 118. All right, let's go Trevor and be done at QB. I don't have any wideouts with Trevor, but I do have ETN. So a little bit of correlation. So, as it gets cheap, it's better, right? So with Josh Allen, I don't think it's you can go overboard with it. But still, even when it's cost effective, I would probably try to stop at like three pass catchers, assuming they're all expensive. Like if one's like an 18 round guy, who cares? Just because you have to think through once you make the finals, let's choose a team like Green Bay. Let's pretend you have Love, Watson, Romeo Dobbs, Wicks, and Reed. You have all of them versus another team who, and let's pretend that for week 17, the guy you wanted was Watson. Okay, so you've guaranteed that you have that. But then a team that beats you only had Love and Watson and just had, when you were taking Reed, he took James Cook, and James Cook also scored 30. Or you get my point there, right? But you could be losing the 2v2 there. Yeah, I'm not taking a lot of Jacoby Myers. I think he works in well with the rookies, and I do take quite a bit of Brock Bowers, so it's nice to get Myers in the seasons where he just kind of does what he did last year, which was he was really good last year. The my article coming out on the top scoring teams the past couple of years for these total point contests, some of them did have quite a bit of stacking, right? Like one of the teams who got second had a like it's super stacked, like San Fran and Dallas, right? So if you're stacking the right team, it can work, but that was a total points contest. That was not a playoff week thing, right? Like this team here by Updog, shout out Updog, a fan of the channel. He had Dak, Lamb, Ferguson. This team got second in drafters, and he had Purdy, and then he had Debo, Kittle, Ayuk, all who were expensive, mind you, but all who were good picks in best ball, right? So he did have a lot of stacking there, and he got second in the contest, right? He scored 2790 points compared to 2794. So he got 150 grand for that team. So it can work, right? And that was expensive picks, but you can't just. There was a lot happening last year where so many guys at the top of drafts were kind of busts, which made it a little bit easier to like go all in on the San Fran guys. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, you had guys like Calvin Ridley who were like fine but disappointing. You had guys like Devonta Smith who were fine, but man, you had like outright busts like Cup. You had Josh Jacobs who was not good. So basically you have to pray and get lucky. I don't know how that's your takeaway. I would just say, like, if you think the Green Bay game and Love is a really good thing to stack up, I think you're better off if you're a volume drafter going Love and two of the pass catchers, but just keep on doing that with different guys, right? And then building around that versus always going Love and all the Green Bay pass catchers, right? How crazy is it to think Washington is top 10 scoring team this season? Yeah, I like their chances to be closer to like a 9-win team if they can get it together. Their defense is probably still bad, which should help scoring in some senses. And I think they got some pieces on offense to be happy about. You got a couple cues for me? Where are they, Tony? Appreciate the super chat. Oh, okay, I see him up here. Is Disley the number one tight end for the Chargers? Brother, how did you change your guys? Look at this. This man changed he asked a question and he changed his profile picture on this. Or are you like same account, different phone selfie? I don't know, that's funny. Anyways, appreciate the super chat. Is Disley the number one tight end for the Chargers? So I was drafting a little bit of Donald Parham. I recently read Hayden Hurst caught a touchdown from Herbert. So as far as tight ends who will catch balls, I would go. Give me a moment here to make a pick. I think Kendre's fine, especially with the Kamara quote unquote news. He's not my favorite guy. I'm gonna go Leggett instead. But yeah, let's pull up the Chargers depth chart because being honest, I'm trying to read the tea leaves as much as anyone else. Like, we don't have a lot of hard news on this. My take on Will Disley is that he is a blocking tight end. To be a good fantasy tight end, you almost always have to be athletic. So Will Disley might be on the field. He might occasionally catch a touchdown because he's blocking and he like goes out for a leak route and no one covers him. But he is very unathletic, so he is not a high upside pick. I will not be drafting him at all, right? He's there to block. I think Donald Parham and Hayden Hurst are overwhelmingly likely to be the guys you should gamble on as far as maybe they have some fantasy upside. Real quick, I'll make a pick here. Yeah, let's go Marshawn Lloyd. I like Lloyd quite a bit. I could go Jahan Dotson, but I don't really like him. I think Lloyd's a nice RB4 for this team. Hayden Hurst. Okay, that's better than Dalton Schultz. Donald Parham. I'm seeing two different things for him here. Like, one has him as a 6.8, other one has him as a 9.2, which I'm kind of confused on that. But I know him to be an elite athlete. He also produced with Herbert last year. So there was some buzz about, and the thing with Hurst is, okay, he went through, he, you know, he had some scary concussions or head hits or something last year. But I think it was that he just didn't see the point of pushing through any of the risk for a team as bad as the Panthers were. And so here's what we got. Herbert first hit tight end Hayden Hurst in the back corner of the end zone for a 25-yard score before he followed up with a 20-yard touchdown pass to Josh Palmer. He also found DJ Chark for a 3-yard touchdown pass. So, I mean, we're getting reports that Herbert threw a touchdown to Hurst in practice. Again, this is spring practice, and it's 7-on-7. But okay, maybe they are trying to make Hayden Hurst the guy. We've seen Hayden Hurst be a fine enough guy. So I'd personally if I took Herbert, which I do take Herbert sometimes with no pass catcher before him, and I need a tight end, I'd take Hurst mostly, and then occasionally Donald Parham too. But again, I'm gonna just opinions are held loosely on some of these situations where if I'm reading training camp buzz and it's no, it's very clear it can't be Will Dissly. But if it's very clear Donald Parham is just running with the ones, he's the pass catching tight end, okay. The other question Tony asked, do you think the new kickoff rule makes a difference? Should we draft people that do returns? Do you get points for return touchdowns? So you can look at the scoring system on each site to kind of go through that. But yeah, generally you do get, if a guy does a return touchdown, you get 6 points for that. I'm of the opinion that I'm not hard adjusting for that, because I'm of the opinion that if with the new kickoff rule, guys are scoring, if Tyreek Hill is scoring and I have the choice of either kicking it to Tyreek or giving the opponent the ball at the 30, teams are going to just start kicking the ball out of the end zone and giving the ball at the 30. So I wouldn't be hard adjusting to that. And I don't really know how we even could at this point. You're a Dissly guy? I mean, look, you're really just hoping this is going to be on the field blocking. Do you like Terry McLaurin? Literally drafted him on this team, brother. Are you drafting Rashee Rice with his potential suspension? I am. I typically fade most fear-based things. And so I wasn't at first. But, I mean, look, pick 91. What's the downside? Okay, the downside, he doesn't play. But, I mean, really high upside. I mean, he is practicing with the team. I do think he's going to get some suspension, but I don't know. I don't know what it is. And, look, it's the NFL. Are they going to punish the Super Bowl winning Chiefs? Probably not. Right? They probably just want the Chiefs to be good. That's kind of good for their business. Okay. Yeah, let's go Sanat here with us having Jaden Daniels. Ben Sanat, super athletic guy. And that is the type of guy you want to be betting on. Because you simply need to be an elite athlete to be a high-end fantasy producer at tight end. 9.72 RAS. Again, Will Dissly was at a 3. Parham and Hurst have both experienced too many concussions. Yeah, Parham took a really bad hit a couple of years ago. But he played last year. Any value in drafting a Giants tight end late? I'm going to update this in my ranks. I previously had Bellinger 1 pick ahead of Theo Johnson, but I'm on the Theo Johnson train now. Thoughts on Isaiah Spiller's team? Man, I don't know. The Chargers are a hard team to discern, but I like Gus and Kamani when I am drafting that. Man, I have not drafted TJ Hawkinson once this year, but it is getting to the point where it's like maybe worth that gamble. God, he's just like not going to play though for so long. I can't do it. I'm taking Conklin. If he's there next round, I'll do it. I like Conklin. You know, the thesis of Conklin is that he has the same production, but he actually scores touchdowns and he has Rodgers, so it could be better. I think Ertz is a sneaky late round snag. I don't like gambling on Zach Ertz, especially on a half point site. I think it's bad, but yeah, I just don't really see it. Cliff could, if anyone's going to do it, it could be Cliff Kingsbury, but yeah. Just got in. What contest is this? This is the marathon, so total points. We got Jaden Daniels and Trevor Lawrence. So I'm probably stopping at 2 QB. Saquon, ETN, Swift, Marshawn Lloyd, Jamar Chase, Zay Flowers, Terry McLaurin, Rome Dunze, Keon Coleman, Jacoby Myers, Xavier Legette. So 2 guys who went near the back end of the first round or in the back end of the first round. Another guy who, you know, a vet, a high first round pick, and then some veterans who've all shown it before. And then Bensonot and Conklin at tight end, 3 more picks to play with. Probably 1 running back, 1 more tight end, and 1 more wide receiver. Is Claypool still available? Let's check. No Kobe Parkinson ever? Yeah, okay, let's talk about that. Because, you know, I've seen Hayden Winks tout him. I've seen the ship chasing guys tout him. Here's what I said about Colby Parkinson. So let me be the voice of reason. I don't think mid-athlete, 600 career receiving yards, Colby Parkinson is some slam dunk pick in best ball. Despite his contract, not even a guarantee he's ahead of Davis Allen, in my opinion. Not a super valuable situation to be gambling on without more info. Just like Chase Claypool, right? Like, okay, I get the upside, but I don't think it's super valuable to be gambling on. I mean, like, okay, is this the year Colby Parkinson? Like, yeah, he played beside guys, but is he just going to be, what are you hoping for? 600 receiving yards, I guess. And this is his RAS. So he's like, this is like the bottom end of what you can be. And it's fine. But this guy's on the team too. And I thought Davis Allen's a big boy who rumbles, you know? Plus, the problem with both of them, especially for the playoff week ones, is if Tyler Higbee comes back during the year, he could send him to the bench, you know? And like, Colby Parkinson could be behind like Tutu Atwell, even. People are not scrolling to Colby, they're going in on him. And look, if we get like steady buzz on Colby, okay, I'll start drafting some of them. Do you ever draft on drafters? Absolutely, yes. Gonna start streaming over there a little bit more. I draft on DraftKings too. Should I draft Chase Claypool to watch hit him with the gritty break a pencil? This is not a good pick. Dawson Knox, pick 185. I like Knox, but this will not be a high-end targeter. So Mike Gesicki is greater than Colby Parkinson. Again, that's a situation that's a little annoying, but yes, I would draft Gesicki over Colby Parkinson personally. And yeah, like I prefer to gamble on guys who, like, I'm okay gambling on a 0, but I want them to have a lot of upside. So by definition, any running back you take fits the bill if you think they're a handcuff. Because what's the upside? The starter gets hurt and they get 20 carries a game. Boom, upside. What is the upside of Colby Parkinson? Someone answer that for me. Demario Douglas in the 16th is a steal. Brother, if you like that, he goes in the 18th. So, all right, let's go with Braylon Allen as our last running back. Shorting Brees Hall. Just should be the RB2 there anyways. I miss the days I could draft him in the 18th round. He used to be one of the guys I ended my drafts with a lot. Nice to have two rookie backs with Lloyd and Braylon on two valuable teams. I think Lloyd is an especially nice pick when you take a guy like ETN, because when you take ETN, you're explicitly betting against Josh Jacobs. So now I'm leveraging off Josh Jacobs, where not only did I not take Josh Jacobs, I took ETN, but I'm hoping Josh Jacobs fails through Lloyd. Okay. Let's go Jonnu Smith as our last tight end. I don't think Jonnu Smith does not fit the bill of typical upside tight ends in the sense that, like Conklin, what's the hope with Conklin? The hope with Conklin is that he's like roughly the second target earner on the team. Jonnu Smith is not going to earn targets over Tyreek, over Waddle, but I still think he has really high weekly upside where he has yard after catch ability, and you could just see him like Tyreek running a deep route, Waddle running a deep route. They leave Jonnu Smith uncovered for 5-yard pop pass, and he takes it 60 yards, you know? Jelani Woods is another late round guy I like to bet on. Elite athlete, just hoping he's healthy. Ideal superflex construction. Are you screwed if you don't get at least 2 startable QBs? Appreciate the super chat, Scout. I don't do a lot of superflex, but I would say in general, yes, you should try to at least have 2. Let's try to, I'll pull up my Superflex finals team from last year to show you it. But they had a preseason one, and I had a team make the finals in the Superflex. But I've not drafted any Superflex this year. They just don't run that often, and they're not my favorite contests. Where is this? All right. This team got 28th in the Big Board Superflex finals. And it was Baker Mayfield, Sam Howell, Brock Purdy, Stafford, Hendon Hooker. So this is a team where I punted at QB, and I just took a lot of guys. And honestly, I hit. Because I hit Mayfield, I hit Howell, I hit Purdy, I hit Stafford. Hendon Hooker was a gamble, obviously. Kyron Williams, again, this was before the NFL draft, so Kyron actually was drafted more then. And I drafted a ton of him late. But Kyron, a big reason this team did well. Jerome Ford, Chase Brown, Jaylen Warren. Ford and Warren were 2 guys I was like super into before the crowd. At the beginning of the year last year. Same with Zamir White. Like I had all the Ford, Warren, and Zamir White before they even had ADPs. Gibson, Gainwell, Gibbs, Addison, JSN, Metcalf, Higgins, Cup, Diggs. So kind of let down by Cup and Diggs as my first round picks. And then Juwan Johnson and George Kittle. Juwan Johnson was a key piece last year in week 17 because he went for 19 points. But yeah, I wasn't really drafting much Juwan this year because you're really just kind of hoping he spikes at the right time. Yeah, I mean, Colby's never going to get target priority over him, but I guess you're kind of hoping he's like Jonnu Smith, but he doesn't have the yard after catch of Jonnu. I guess you're really just hoping for an injury to Cup or Puka. And guys, don't forget, Mike Gesicki has been on 2 Best Ball Mania winning teams. So he's an ultimate glue guy. Did absolutely nothing on those teams, but he was on it. Yeah, we're gonna end this one with a wideout, unless there's like a quarterback that really sticks out, which there isn't. And Jalen McMillan, I think, is the perfect last pick here. Rookie, getting a little bit of buzz in camp. There's your upside case there. So we got Jaden Daniels and Trevor Lawrence, Saquon, Etienne, Swift, Lloyd, Braylon Allen. Lawrence and Etienne is not my preferred way to stack up the Jags, right? Like, doesn't seem particularly likely that the highest scoring team in the contest will only have Lawrence and Etienne versus like Lawrence and Ingram or Lawrence and Brian Thomas Jr. or Lawrence and Gabe Davis, whoever. But QB, RB, still good correlation. And the hope is that Jaden Daniels is the guy who's scoring for me more often. Saquon, Etienne, Swift, Lloyd, Braylon Allen. So 3 guys who should be the RB1s on their teams. And then 2 guys who you're hoping are in a rotation and or at least handcuffs in Braylon's case. Jamar Chase, Zay Flowers, Terry McLaurin, Rome Ndunze, Keon Coleman, Jacoby Myers, Xavier Legette, Jalen McMillan. We got 4 rookies, which I like to do to get some rookies. They offer upside. Rome and Keon, even though their rookies production is weighted towards the end of the season, you're hoping that they produce out of the gate due to the draft capital in Rome's case, in Keon's case, just the opportunity. And even if they aren't, we got some veterans to hold it together. And then Ben Sinnott, Conklin, and Jonnu Smith. Sinnott obviously correlates. Conklin, on maybe a good team. Jonnu on a good team, a good offense at least in Miami and the Jets. And yeah, I like these 3 for going late round tight end. Overall, I like the team. Again, Saquon, not a guy I draft a lot, but you're hoping that he's the tush push guy this year, or he just scores way, way more touchdowns than he ever has. And, we're not too worried about an RB2 behind him, unlike some other guys. So overall, I like this team. Luke McCaffrey is a guy I like and draft a lot, but didn't get him here. Where did he go? And that's fine. Yes, I would have had to pass on Conklin for him, which I wasn't really willing to do. I needed tight end at that point. All right, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate you all being here. If you haven't, please do like and subscribe to my content. Check out my best ball site at beatbestball.com. I got rankings for Underdog and DraftKings over there that you can download. I will be... Oh, let's check out what they hit him with the gritty before we get out of there, by the way. I'm not sure when I'll be back streaming. Probably early next week, possibly before then. Maybe I'll fire one up in Vegas if I happen to run deep on a final table. Our guy Gritty went CeeDee Lamb, Derrick Henry, Josh Allen. Let's just look at it like this. So we went Josh Allen, Fields, and Russell Wilson. I don't mind going Fields and Russell Wilson, but I don't think I'd be doing it with the Josh Allen team. I think I'd just kind of gamble on Fields, who I prefer to gamble on over Russ. Derrick Henry, Najee, Ramondre, James Conner, Javonte Williams. These are like the same 5 running backs he always drafts. He's reaching on guys like Najee and Ramondre, which I don't love in general, but it can work from a uniqueness angle. CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Brandon Cooks, Roman Wilson, Jalen Polk, Marvin Mims, Malachi Corley, Javon Baker. Honestly, one of the better wide receiver rooms he drafts because he's adjusted. Like, he's claiming he hasn't, but he used to always go like Josh Allen, Hurts, Kyler Murray. He's not doing that for this. And maybe it's because it's a marathon. Mark Andrews and Pat Freiermuth at tight end. Seems like, look, if Lamb is always in the lineup and Pickens is giving him a bunch of weeks, I think this group is honestly fine. Cooks, you're hoping has a bunch of spikes. Roman Wilson, a rookie that correlates. Jalen Polk, a rookie who could be the wide receiver 1 on his team. Mims, a deep threat. on, not the best team. Malachi Corley, a rookie, you hope he becomes the 2. Baker, you hope he's the 2 or the 1, even over Polk. So not a great wide receiver room, but not the worst that I've seen him do, being honest, So appreciate you all being here. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. The link to my Discord is in the YouTube description below. See you next time.